Good morning. Happy Sunday to all. Thanks for tuning in with Choppin It Up with Ramel, the latest edition. Listen, so much to talk about as it was a pretty good weekend in sports this weekend. But I'm going to begin at the Barclays Center last night with boxing. What a night it was. It was the unification of the welterweight division. Surprisingly, they said this is the first unification since 1985. That I found a little strange. Donald Curry was fighting. I just knew that between maybe the De La Hoyas or the Purnells or Fernand, what's his name? Tito. I just thought that we had a unification prior, but this was surprising to see that this was the first one in over 30 years. So let's get right to it. But before I talk about the Keith Thurman and the Danny Garcia fight last night, which was a very good fight. I was looking for more, but it was a very good fight. I want to talk about the fight before that. I don't know who this kid is. Erickson, the Hammer, Lipon. Maybe I'm saying his name wrong, but Lupin. I don't know who this guy is. But after last night, I learned who he was. Listen, I'm not sure who he was fighting. But I'll tell you this. If you're looking for a knockout, I don't care what division it is, from featherweight to heavyweight, if you're looking for a knockout, that left hook that he threw last night was one of the best knockouts you're going to see. The way he threw it, first of all, he squared up. His feet was planted. He got it all from his ankles. It wasn't just in his arms. And when he swung it, he knew. A nice left hook. Boom, squared across the face. The guy went down. I wouldn't be surprised if they still counted. That was a classic left hook. You're not going to have an opportunity to throw a punch like that too often in any fight. Because like I said, he was able to plant himself, square up. I mean, it was just you couldn't sculpt the stance any better, guys. And when he threw that left hook, it hit him square. Oh, just an outstanding punch, an outstanding finish. I'm not sure. He's a young guy. He hasn't had many fights. He's 21 years old. I think he's like 19-0 with 14 knockouts. He's talking about title now. He was ranked number 4 going into the fight. I think he needs a little bit more seasoning. But I tell you what, this is a guy to be reckoned with. I did see a couple of flaws. He could be a little wild at times, but at the same time, the guy can box. He's got heart. I look for him to be someone to look forward to seeing later on in the future. I think he wants to fight Charlo. Charlo's a real deal. So we're going to see what happens. But what a very impressive knockout it was, to say the least. Very impressive knockout, to say the least. Moving along to the main event, Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. I had Keith Thurman in this fight. And I had him winning by decision. And pretty much the way it went is just how I thought I would see it. I thought that Danny Garcia would be the better boxer, but I thought that Thurman would be the better fighter, and the fighter would prevail. When you look at it, the punch counts, they were relatively close. I thought Keith Thurman hit him with more power shots, and a lot of times the power shots seem to score more points in the eyes of the judges. But Danny Garcia was game. I mean, the fact that one judge had him winning the fight, I mean, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it just goes to show you that he came to fight, and it was a good fight. It really was. It was a good fight. It wasn't a great fight. I was looking for a little bit more fireworks, but it was a good fight. And these guys, they came, they brought it, and they gave us a good show. They gave us a good show. I mean, really did. They gave us a good show, and I mean, it's not like it was pay-per-view where it cost you money. It was CBS, but I could see a rematch on this. I mean, it was entertaining. Danny Garcia has no reason to hold his head down. He fought a well fight. He fought a good fight. In some cases, he could have won. He could have been a victor. Maybe another round here. But it was absolutely an entertaining fight. And Keith Thurman, he deserved the win. I thought he deserved the win, and rightfully so. The decision was correct. Where do they go from here? I know I saw Bronner at ringside. He may be looking for a chance to get the winner, or maybe even the loser for that matter. Question is, where do they go from here? Hopefully, Thurman doesn't take another 8 months to fight again. Remember, his last fight came in against Sean Porter, which was a very good fight. And speaking of Sean Porter, he's going to be fighting in April, Berto. So that should be very entertaining as well. So we'll see what happens. But very, very good fight last night. And we definitely got our money's worth. We were entertained. Moving along to the NBA, that is. Lots to talk about there. First of all, Cleveland went into Miami, and Miami just rolled. Miami's been playing good ball as of late. You guys have heard me say that this is probably Eric Spoelstra's best coaching performance of his career. They played well. Cleveland went in there. They were down Kevin Love due to injury, down J.R. Smith due to injury, and they decided to rest LeBron and Kyrie Irving. Well, the Heat just dominated, and they didn't care if they played or not. Heat won 120-92, but what did happen here? It got a little testy. It got a little testy between players. I mean, literally, it got a little testy between players. At the end of the game, J.R. Smith had to be held back or separated as him and Dion Waiters was going at it. I mean, of all people, J.R. Smith is in street clothes, guys. He's already injured. You know? But, yeah, it got very testy. Benji, how you doing, Ben? He texts in. He says he liked the fight last night. Thurman had more flush shots. I mean, whether you call them flush shots or not, I thought he had more power shots. And a lot of time, and I guess you saw what I saw, Benji, it's just that in the eyes of the judges, it scores well. I mean, it scores well, scores better. So I think Thurman won the fight clearly, and they got it right. But good call on that, Benji. He did hit him with more of the noticeable shots or the power shots. So I can agree with that. But yeah, getting back to the Miami game, they were led by Dragic and Hassan Whiteside. I believe they put up like 23 and 20. But Dragic had 23, Whiteside had 20 and 13 rebounds. But the point is that, you know, I don't mind injured players being on the bench and rooting for the team, but I mean, JR, you got to keep your composure out there. And Dion Waiters, I don't know what was said, but they definitely got a little testy. And I can tell you this. I know Detroit rolled last night and won by 30 in Philly in a much-needed win, but this could be a first-round matchup if Miami should manage to squeak in and get the 8th spot. Because it's very well possible. Again, Eric Spoelstra is having his best season as a head coach. His best season. So they can very well meet in the first round, and who knows what can happen. Last night there was a game on ABC. I mean, it was a lot of action last night. You had the fight on, you had North Carolina and Duke, and you had the Clippers going into Chicago, and it was the Jamal Crawford show. He came off the bench, scored 25 as the Clips go into Chi-Town and gets a win by 10, a much-needed win, too. I mean, here's the thing. The Clippers, I don't think anybody has the Clippers going far in the West. And they're going to need to stay in the top 4 to even try to advance in the second round. I don't know if they can advance as the 5th seed. Whether it's Utah, whether it's Memphis, or even OKC. I don't know. Greg Berry, the guru, he tuned in. And, you know, we lost Greg for a little while. I think because football season is over, we don't hear from the guru. But we'll be talking football soon as the free agency kicks off next week. And also, the draft is in April. So I know you're going to have some thoughts on that. But good to see you, Greg. But, yeah, the Clippers kind of the forgotten team a little bit. People don't give them a real shot, and they give them an outside shot, and I'm one of those. I don't see them going deep in the tournament this year. I really think the team is going to break up. So we'll see what happens with that. Spurs, they win their 7th in a row against Timberwolves. Kawhi Leonard quietly continuing his march towards MVP. I don't know where you guys have him, but he's clearly in my top 5 in MVP. You know, I never had Kevin Durant in my top 5 as an MVP. But I tell you what, if Golden State loses again today against the Knicks without him, I'm going to have to start thinking about that. Because in his absence, they lost the game and got hurt in. And then they lost in Chicago. They couldn't shoot it in the river. If they go to Madison Square Garden and lose to the woeful Knicks, then my thoughts of Kevin Durant being MVP is going to improve. I got Rodney Walker tuning in. How you doing, Rodney? I agree with you on the Garcia. I don't think he did enough to win. But here's the thing. You could make the case that he did enough to win, but I think Thurman pulled out the win because he hit him with harder shots, more power shots. That's the only thing I can say. I mean, the punch count was kind of even. It wasn't like it was lopsided where one threw much more than the other or one threw less than the other. I mean, the fact that you had the deciding judge have it 115-113, that goes to show you really how close the fight was, in my eyes. It just shows you how close the fight really was. And it might have been just a round that could have prevented it from being a draw or a round from it going to Garcia. I don't think Garcia did himself any damage as a boxer. I just think that he didn't hit him with enough power shots. And sometimes power shots is like 3-point shots in the NBA. You know, I mean, good jabs and combinations, those are like, you know, layups and mid-range jump shots. But when you connect on those power shots, it's like the and one on a dunk or either the 3-point shot in the NBA. So I think that was the difference. But we'll see where both boxers go from here. I mean, the future is bright. The welterweight division is only getting better. We'll see what happens. I want to see if any of them going to challenge Bronner. I know he was at ringside looking on. He would love to get a money fight with one of them. I'm not a Bronner fan, but I do respect he can box. I root against him, but he is entertaining. And if he fights one of these guys, it should be a good fight. It would be a good fight. But getting back to it, Kawhi Leonard, he 34 points, 10 rebounds. So he continues to have an MVP season. Probably maybe the best defensive player in the game or second. But he continues his top 5 approach in the MVP contest. So they win again. James Harden, another MVP candidate. They roll as they won yesterday. They beat Memphis. They beat Memphis yesterday. Again, he had 30-something points, 11 assists. Just a phenomenal season that he's having. And also along with the Houston Rockets doing a good job. I believe they had, again, like 45 points from their bench. I mean, that bench is a very good bench, led by Eric Gordon and Lou Williams. I mean, there's a lot that comes off that bench that gives you a little scoring and some firepower, too. So, but in this game here, Capella had a big game. Yeah, I think he had 20-plus points and like 11 to 13 rebounds. So he had a big game, too. And you don't see that from him too often because D'Antoni's team is usually a perimeter-based team. But if he can get that pick and roll going, maybe a couple of lobs to the big man, he can be a factor. But in order for Capella to really be a factor, he's going to have to be able to hit that jump shot from the foul line extended or around the elbow. That's how Amari Stoudemire made his bread and butter in Phoenix under the D'Antoni system. It was the pick and roll. He would slide to the basket, get the lob, throw it down, or he'd step out and just hit that little elbow jump shot. You know, so Capello's going to have to learn that. But Houston continues to roll. As I said, they had 45 bench points. Now I want to talk a little bit about that Duke game with North Carolina, as North Carolina prevailed, and they're probably the better team this year. But I want to talk about Grayson Allen, guys. Grayson Allen. The guy's a phenomenal talent. Let's take nothing away from him. He's a McDonald All-American coming out of high school. In fact, I believe he even won the slam dunk contest. Let's talk about this guy. He's clearly a dirty player, if you ask me. He is clearly a dirty player. Again, he's teed up for an elbow to the face to one of the Tar Heel players. I mean, there's no room for that in college basketball. College basketball is supposed to be a learning center. A learning center. Whether you're just learning for education or learning to improve your craft as a sports or athlete. Male or female. But there's no room for this type of behavior. And it's been consistent all year. All year. To me, it's time for this guy to be suspended. Maybe for the playoffs. Maybe for the tournament. Because he doesn't seem to get the message. And that was a clear elbow to the face as he tried to get a little separation to get around the defender. But, I mean, he clearly put the elbow up and extended it. It's one thing you try to wrap around somebody and get around him. But he literally took the elbow, brought it up, and went into the defender's face. And there's no room for that. There's no room for that at all. At all. You know, if I mean, you can't tolerate this in college. I'm not in favor of that type of behavior. I really am. I'm not in favor of it. I love college basketball. Sometimes college basketball could be even better than NBA basketball. But behavior such as that should not be tolerated. It should not be tolerated at all. But this week, it's going to kick off for the majority of the conferences. Conference tournament. Some has already gone on the way, like some of the mid-majors or some of the lower majors. They already began. There was one upset. I believe Vanderbilt knocked off Florida yesterday. That was a huge upset. Seton Hall knocked off Butler. The top teams continue to roll on. I really think it's going to come down to Kansas and UCLA to win it all. I don't know. You want to give Gonzaga an outside shot. It could be the year of the mid-majors that step up. You know, we seen Butler do it 2 years in a row, go back-to-back finals, lost each time. But I really think it's going to come down to UCLA and Kansas. But again, it's all about the seeding. You never know. And then it could be that one team that just gets hot. And the next thing you know, you look up, they're in the Final 16, the Elite 8. They're in the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, and the Final 4. And now you don't want to play them. I mean, we've seen that before. They just gets on a roll. And kid Villanova, who's been knocking on the door for the last several years, and they did win one, and been consistent for the last several years, I should say. Will they get back? So it's a lot out there. It's a shame that when I look and see that guys like Georgetown is not going to be there, St. John's is not going to be there. I mean, these are some falling programs, guys. Some of the best programs that we've seen in the 80s and maybe through the 90s, it's just falling on hard times right now. I mean, they're not even close to competing. That's a shame. You know, I'm a huge Syracuse fan, and I can tell you this is not one of their better teams, but at least they sit on the bubble and possibly end right now as they annihilated Georgia Tech. I mean, they just annihilated Georgia Tech. I was at the game down here in Georgia where they lost. And then now they go up to the Carrier Dome. They avenged that loss, 90-61. I mean, they just put it on them. White, he had 40 points. Good game for him. But at least they stayed relevant. Georgetown and St. John's, they're only relevant in a local newspaper. And it's just a shame because those are some glory programs. St. John's, they bring in Chris Mullin. They still can't get it right. They still can't get it right. I thought they should have went after Mark Jackson, personally. Chris Mullin, he's had some front office experience, but he's never had any coaching experience. And I understand you want to bring one of your own home, but the key would have been maybe making him like the athletic director and bringing Mark Jackson on board. That might have been a better scenario. Because, yes, Mark Jackson has the experience as the coach. Chris Mullin has the experience in the front office. And they're both local products and played at the school and played during some of their glory days. So, to me, that would have been the better fit. So, we'll see what happens going forward. But those are just some programs falling on some hard time. Well, this afternoon at 3:30, I don't know why they did it to New York, but you got Golden State going into Madison Square Garden to play my Knicks. It's a win if the Knicks only lose by 15. But we'll see what happens. Right now, Golden State is not looking too strong without Durant. Maybe it's just an adjustment that they got to, get by or make. But for those who think that, well, they won it without Durant, so it shouldn't be no problem, think again. Remember, when they didn't have Durant, they had Barnes, they had Bogut, they had Festus Ezeli, they had Spates, they had Barbosa, Brandon Rush. That's right there is nearly a starting five. So, I mean, the thing about it is that to obtain Kevin Durant, they had to let some people go. Barnes left. Bogut left. Ezeli left. Barbosa left. Spates left. All right, you bring in David West. You bring in Jaja. You bring in Javal, who's actually played well. Don't get me wrong. He's played well. But you can't say, well, they won without Durant. They should be able to pick it up. No, I don't think so. So maybe New York has a fighting chance today. We'll see what happens. But hey, that's going to do it for the show today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll try to do this again in 24. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay blessed. Be strong. Peace and blessings.